Hi guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the fourth element, Ellipse. So this is a dry glove ring system that you can fit to pretty much any dry suit with the SiTech QCS sort of oval cuff system. So most of the dry suits out there, if they have silicone cuffs fitted, chances are they're going to have this SiTech QCS system on them, and this basically replaces that oval ring so that you can then connect a dry glove onto your dry suit and use dry gloves. Much better than sort of neoprene wet gloves, in my opinion. They're a lot thinner, but they do keep you that much warmer, and of course your hands stay dry, so they're not sort of exposed to the water. So let's take a look and see sort of what you get with them, and then I'm going to show you how to actually fit them to a dry suit. So first of all, yeah, it comes in this semi-rigid case, which you can repurpose if you want. It's smart. It's got their sort of embossed logo on the front, double zipper, and a really big lanyard on it. Inside of the case, you have the replacement sort of QCS rings as such. So this is what your silicone cuff seal is going to attach to, and then that's going to get fitted to your dry suit. This ring, the larger one, this is what you attach your dry glove onto, and that's going to then clip or sort of attach onto that ring when it's assembled onto your dry suit. So you get a pair of those, obviously. On the inside of the lid, you have a plastic tool, so that's quite useful for sort of getting the old sort of ring system off, and yeah, sort of trying to get O-rings out, because this has got a really sharp sort of edge to it. I'd almost file that down just so you're less likely to sort of scratch anything, but yeah, it makes it really good for getting in small little areas and getting O-rings out. You also get some silicone grease, very useful and essential for putting the silicone cuff back on. It's much easier and just means you're less likely to sort of fold over or sort of damage the cuff seal when you're putting it back in. So grease it up, and that makes it a lot easier to get back into the hole. Bunch of O-rings. So the black O-rings, these are for your dry glove to attach onto the larger ring. You basically sort of sandwich it on there, and then that holds it in position. Stretch it over that one. Silicone, these are basically fascias. These are more cosmetic, but they do help sort of maintain the seal between the dry glove and this ring, because there's quite a large amount of space in here. So the second one just sort of bolsters up and sort of really holds that in position and makes sure that you have an effective seal. It also covers up that sort of link between the dry glove and then this ring. And then the orange ones, these go on this ring, just in this sort of position here, and that's what's going to be sealing between this ring and this ring, and that way it's bright orange, so you can always kind of check it before every dive, make sure it's nice and clean, make sure there's no damage to it, and make sure it's lubed up properly. You also get a little bit of paper which tells you basically how to look after it, but what's really important is in this sleeve, don't just rip this off, because on the inside you might be able to see it's got all the instructions on how to fit it. But of course, I'm going to show you that in a second. So actually, yeah, let's take a look at those instructions and actually fit them to a dry suit. Okay, so I've got myself a dry suit sleeve. This is from a waterproof dry suit. All I've done so far is I've removed the waterproof dry suits come with like a protective cowl over here. I've just removed that. And then here we have our QCS oval ring system, and of course our silicone seal. Now you're going to reuse this seal, but we're going to be swapping out this this kind of rigid ring. And first of all, we're going to use our tool, and basically you're just going to jam that in here and use it as a bit of a pry bar to kind of loosen up that seal, and then you can sort of pull off that internal cuff. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the silicone cuff seal. So that's the bit that you're keeping, that's the bit that you're discarding. Keep it, but we're not gonna be using it. So then we move on to this ring on the Ellipse system. So you have sort of two halves. So this half is what's going into your dry suit, and then this half should be right at the edge of your sleeve. So with the cuff seal inside out, because there should be a little lip on the inside, we're going to marry that up to like this second ring around here. So that sort of sits neatly in that, and that just keeps your silicone cuff from sort of slipping, basically. Keep going all the way around so it's nice and flush. And as you can see, I've already greased it. It's very important to keep that lubricated, because when you go to pop it back in, if it's dry, it's just gonna sort of fold and bunch up, and you do run the risk of actually sort of pinching and even cutting the silicone cuff seal. So definitely use some lubricant. You don't need much, just enough to make sure it's a smooth transition. And yeah, so a nice thin film all the way around, and that just makes your life a lot easier when you go to sort of pop it back in. Now, because it's oval, you need to make sure that it goes in the right sort of direction. So you almost need to try this with the suit on, and then sort of where your hand naturally fits through it. On waterproof dry suit, they actually have a little indicator where the kind of pointiest bit should go, but you can put it wherever you want, wherever's the most comfortable. And then all we're doing, the sort of internal sort of ring should be kind of squidgy, soft on your dry suit sleeve, and then you're just going to marry the two up, and you kind of want to push in as evenly and as gently as possible so it doesn't bunch up anywhere. And then when it's all kind of lined up, make sure it's not extruding anywhere. Just kind of push it together until it all kind of clicks around, and you're and there it is, it's already fitted. So now you can go dive with it just as a normal dry suit as it was before. If you want to, you can fit this silicone band onto there just to give it a slightly nicer edge around that if you really wanted to. It's more cosmetic at this stage, but if you then want to, of course, use dry gloves, then you're fitting the orange ring into this recess here. And again, this is an O-ring. It's always worth a little bit of grease just to make it a little bit easier just to put it on when you're getting kitted up. So then onto this ring. So this is what your dry glove is going to be fitted to. I didn't have any dry gloves to hand, unfortunately, but all you basically do, there's a video on sort of Fourth Element's website on how to do this. Use the black ring. That just pops over the dry glove, and then sort of sandwiches it in here. It's a pretty strong sort of O-ring in that, so that creates a very effective seal. As you can see, plenty of space around that. We don't really want that, so we use this section, the silicone, and that's got a kind of bulbous end to it on the inside, so that acts as a second O-ring, and then the thinner tapered end just goes over the dry glove and just sort of neatens up that edge. So I'm just going to pop that on really quick. You can be quite fancy and sort of put sort of Fourth Element down on the flat edge, but whatever you fancy. And then when you want to actually fit the dry gloves, just kind of line it up nice and neatly. And then when you're ready, you just kind of pull it all together, and then your dry gloves are fitted. Obviously you'd have a dry glove on the end, so you still have this sort of redundant seal. A lot of people like to sort of break that seal with either a thin section of silicone tubing so that you can equalize the gloves, because in a dry glove, if you still have this seal intact around your cuff, it means that that's a sealed airspace, so actually that glove is going to shrink wrap onto your hand. So I like to use like the thumb loop of my undersuit. That just breaks that seal just a little bit, so you can put your hand up and then it allows some air to come from your dry suit into your glove, and that equalizes that airspace. Other divers do it in slightly different ways, but just a small little sort of break in that seal, which just means that even if you do sort of rip the dry glove, it's going to slow water from getting into your suit in the unlikely event. But yeah, it's a quick and easy way to attach a dry glove system onto your sort of QCS undersuit. No, not undersuit, dry suit. Okay, so there they are, fitted to a dry suit. It's pretty quick and easy to kind of fit them. Swap over your existing QCS system so you can then fit the Ellipse and some dry gloves. Of course, you can dive your suit without dry gloves as well. You still have that silicone cuff seal. You can still wear them barehanded or with neoprene gloves. It's that good sort of all-rounder, and because it's oval, it's a bit more compact, so you don't have these big, bulky sort of halos around each of your cuffs. Yeah, I definitely like them. I always dive with dry gloves. It's been a while since I've worn some neoprene gloves in my dry suits, just because you still get the dexterity of a dry glove, and yeah, your hands stay dry as well. But of course, let us know what you think in the comments below. This is the Fourth Element Ellipse dry glove system. Thanks for watching and safe diving.
We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.